transfers. I know you took Joe Bulovis, and obviously, you look at all the options in terms of transfers. Did the ETSU and Georgia games, is that going to change at all how you look at taking transfers and possibly being more aggressive in the future?
I don't know that it changes. Like we've always considered. I mean, transfers first of all are a part of our sport now, and I think it can be a strategic part of building a roster. I think in year one you have to what I was not going to do is try to purge our team and go out into a free agent market and have Vanderbilt football be a bunch of transplanted individuals. That was not the approach we were going to take. We were going to understand that we have a roster that's set. We have a roster that was full at the time when we got here. We had maybe a couple slots, but not many. This was about honoring the commitment to graduate our players. Us not having any idea of what the good, the bad, the ugly was. So not trying to come in and say, again, purge the roster to fill it with transplants, but to focus on building a culture, building a foundation, being sensitive to the fact that, I think before you start introducing, outside forces, you first have to, have a strong nucleus that you're bringing them into. And so we don't want to make exceptions in transfers. We're not looking to take on other programs' issues. And yet we know that using the transfer portal to bolster depth to help, and we won't probably be a team that ever takes, 6 guys, but is there 3 or 4 that we can target and kind of vet out and feel really good about bringing them into the environment? They fit who we are, that kind of stuff, Robbie. And so it's not a response to East Tennessee State and Georgia. I think in year one, I got on campus in January. I met the team, I think January 20th. And what I was not going to do is in my first meeting with individuals say, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. We have a commitment here to graduate our student athletes that I honor and support. We owe them that opportunity, and I owed this team a chance to interview and to find roles and find new life. And I think in year one, setting a foundation is critical, and we're doing that. And as we have opportunity in roster space, right, that's important too. We'll certainly look to bolster the roster with guys that can help us win.
So is it, you mentioned maybe not ever 6 or 7 or however many, but is it fair to say that now that you have, you will have ended up having, a year to, I manipulate the roster in terms of bringing in the guys the freshmen you're bringing in and learning, all these guys, spending time with them. Is it fair to say that maybe you could take more transfers, than just one going forward?
Yeah, listen, we looked at others this year too. It's not we ended up with one, but it wasn't because we didn't look at others and try to get others. I think it's a market, right? It's what do we offer, what else is out there, and how do we compete and be competitive in the recruiting process for transfers. So again, we're not shut off to it. And the only thing I would say, what the numbers indicate, what we are going to do long term to be successful here is recruit and develop players in this program. So if we set a course right now to have patchwork solutions to bigger problems, then it's just going to be year to year. It's all right, who's out there and how do we build this program? That's why not 6 or 7. This has always been about sustaining success, and it's always been in my mind that part of the formula for Vanderbilt is to recruit, retain, and develop your roster. Now, listen, like I said, we took one this year to address a need that we knew we had. There were other guys that we were looking at that just, in some cases they chose to go somewhere else. And in other cases, we decided that, maybe it was a little bit of a reach and the skills weren't necessarily something we didn't already have. So it's just, it has to be mutually beneficial that way. But we're always going to be looking to field the most competitive team we can. We're just not going to do it at the expense of the future, meaning we're not looking to make judgments on young players, run guys out of the program and supplement that with transfers that we don't know as much about. Is that fair, Robbie?
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate the context. Yes,
Yeah,
that's very helpful.
Yep.
Hey, Clark, can you give us an update on Ben Bresnahan, Michael Warden, anybody else that maybe has been hurt but not out for the year, or guys that are maybe questionable?
Yeah, Benny's back. Benny's practiced all week. Mike Warden is probably, he's getting close, but he may be a week off. I'm trying to think. Justin Ball is back in working his way into practice, so he's probably again maybe a week off, but he's on his return to play path, which is exciting. Pearson Cook's back. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Ray Davis is obviously out for the season. Chris, anybody else that you want to ask about specifically?
No, that's all I could think of.
Okay.
I've got a follow-up question, but I'll let Aria go first.
Okay.
Yeah, Clark, I was just going to ask, what is your opinion on, giving athletes priority scheduling for classes, and have you had any issues with players missing practice, due to having class?
Well, first of all, I'm excited about where this is headed for Vanderbilt. I think it's a great, as the chancellor works on it with Candace Lee and they figure out the right formula for us. I think it's awesome that they're fighting for our players to have that sacred space of a practice block. What our student athletes do in a time sacrifice is honorable. I mean, they spend so much time and they care deeply about their experiences, both in competition. This isn't just football players, in competition and in the classroom. And so, we set a practice block that we want to keep sacred, a training block in the winter that we want to keep sacred. Obviously, we will always prioritize academics where we have conflict, but we've pretty well been able to navigate those issues by working with our academic services department. And as we work towards figuring out our registration policies and that kind of thing, this program will remain flexible and adaptable to ensure that our guys have the best possible student athlete experience. But we think that we can do football and school at a really high level here, and we're obviously always going to be interested in our guys graduating and engaging in education. We also want to make sure that in their athletic pursuits, and particularly these guys want to play in the NFL, that this needs to be a place that guys make a football decision to come to Vanderbilt. And so I love that we're working hard to fight for every inch for our players in the classroom. I think the powers that be at the university understand the level of sacrifice our guys put in representing the university as football players and as athletes. And it's just exciting at Vandy that we're taking a big picture approach here and again looking to create that student athlete experience that's second to none.
Clark, I know not easy going through what you guys went through Saturday with the team that didn't have a ton of confidence coming into the year. How do you assess the response that you got in practice this week from execution, intensity, and everything that you would want to see following what happened?
So just first to just confirm, I mean, Saturday was brutal, and that was a brutal and emotional experience that again is an indication of where we are, certainly not where we're headed, and it's something that we all have to take ownership of. It starts with me and our staff and extends down to our players, and we have levels of ownership in the process to deliver that result, right? It's practice design, it's play design, it's play execution, and it's decision to compete every snap. And we had an honest conversation about that. Honestly, it started last week. I mean, we were had a very pointed and emotional meeting about it on Monday last week. Again on Tuesday, I echoed the message of Monday. Tuesday, we didn't have a good practice, perhaps our worst since I've been here. And so Wednesday, we had a 40-minute team meeting where we went through film of practice clips and game clips and how, what you do in preparation shows up in performance. I thought our guys bounced back, had a good Wednesday, had a good Thursday, had a good Friday. And then just, you have to go one by one on the team to look at, again, the level of ownership and competition on Saturday, which we've kind of gone through ad nauseum. This week, we collected on Monday, again, looked honestly at the game. They certainly pointed out areas of disappointment, but also some of those instances where guys were winning their one-on-ones and doing it in a way where there were run plays that were set up like Stanford. It's just, we were rushing our reads, or we were rushing throws, or we were not playing with confidence. Tuesday, I thought we had our best practice of the year. And I would say that last night we doubled down on that. I mean, again, I'm looking, Chris, at decision to compete. So whether it's scout team or fit period, where guys are giving their all each play. So I'm pleased. Now we got to finish the week off. We got to take preparation to performance. Excuse me. If that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. It's for you. You feeling okay? You've got a cold or something there?
Just a dry cough. Sorry. I've been battling all week. One
Good
second.
luck with that.
Wait.
It's halftime.
Bishop, you taking questions now?
Sure, hit me.
Chad, what did you think of Nashville SC's brutal dropped 2 points last night?
I was watching Atlanta United win 1-0 and the Braves shrink the magic number to 1. So I have no comment on Nashville SC. Big night for Atlanta. Chris Lee knows what I'm talking about.
I think Will Smith's going to clinch it tonight with a bases loaded, no out save.
With a pop up to Dansby, right?
Right, or a line drive.
Yeah, something. Just by the skin of his teeth.
Right.
Better? Thanks, man. I jinxed you this morning. Yeah, I know. Sorry about that, guys. Let's give it a go. Can't promise that I won't break down again.
I had a question about I know you obviously can't name names, but I'm just watching senior year highlights of the 2022 commits and maybe the speed at a lot of different positions stand out. How important was it to you? How high priority was it to get guys with kind of where speed was one of their top positive traits?
Huge, right? That's like the everything measurable, right? We lack speed right now as a team. We're developing that, but in recruiting, we have to recruit speed. So yeah, it's a huge priority.
So Clark, we were talking to Elijah McAllister a couple weeks ago, and he said something about how, last year he kind of discovered that he loved just football in all aspects, including like analyzing or more of a coaching role type of thing. Have you, seen that from him this year in terms of him playing kind of that off the field role as well?
You muted at the end there, Aria. Playing the off the field.
Playing the off the field role as well. That's
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think like I'm learning this as I've experienced it. So just kind of bear with me as I kind of try to have it crystallize within me. But like you have a pretty good idea of what this program is going to look like when it's functioning at its highest level, and the amount of investment required, right? Like, additional film study, and not things that we mandate. It's not that as a coach, you have 20 hours and you work within that. And I think for me in this job, it's critical that I stay within that, because obviously, our guys need to be able to invest in the classroom. And being that I'm a product of this school, I'm not looking to undercut that, right? I mean, that's important to me. I want these guys to engage in their education. I will say that as we learn how to compete at the highest level, what our guys will find is they're going to be spending less time on Netflix or all the things that you do in your spare time, I guess, and more time in this building, not because they're asked to, but because they just love to do it. Once you start to experience what it feels like as a competitor to be on the field, anticipating what your opponent's going to do and getting to your technique faster than the opponent, not just every play being a reaction, but every play being like, he's here, so he's doing this, I'm going to cut him off and I'm going to make the play. Now all of a sudden you have this like it's like an addiction. Like you become addicted to preparation, you become addicted to the work required to find competitive excellence. And so right now I think we're dipping our toe in the water. And for me, one of the biggest challenges is not getting frustrated by the fact that we're not already swimming in the deep end, because again, and that's easy, for me, particularly as a first-time head coach, is like, is it times to find the perspective to say, you know what, this is what this looks like right now. This is what this is going to look like a year from now. This is what it's going to look like 2 years from now, as long as we stay the course. So to answer your question, certainly, Elijah loves football and is engaged with football. I'm excited for him to have that engagement deepen, just like I am for all our players. Elijah's one of our captains, right? So he's one of our high performers. That engagement will deepen as we go, and it'll allow for these guys to understand the thrill of an all-out effort, which means both competitive effort, which has been lacking at times this season, and competitive preparation, which will unlock a level of performance. And when you talk about closing the gaps, right, the talent gap, we're going to develop into that talent gap, we're going to recruit in that talent gap. Well, we're going to prepare into that talent gap too. And our guys will find higher levels of performance as we start to anticipate plays rather than react to plays. And so the first play of the game against Georgia, they throw a perimeter screen on us and we missed the tackle, but there was a lot of space for it. As we get honed in on the techniques, the eye discipline, what when there's a step back screen, the safety, how he takes a lateral line, doesn't get depth. That level of nuance and fundamental takes the space away from the ball carrier. We start taking the space away from good players. It's hard for them to be good, right? We win at the point of attack. And so I'm being long-winded, and maybe that's why I have all these coughing fits. That's what Chad would tell me. But does that make sense, Arya? Like, I think he's, he obviously, right now we're sustaining work performance. We're asking them to come out every day. And again, they're working harder than they have in the past year. That's at least what's reported to me constantly. We're asking them to do it with spirit and enthusiasm. So at practice, we're having fun through to the finish and working with spirit. But I think as we continue on this journey as a program, what we're going to find is as we experience success and they understand the depths of preparation required, they'll start coming back for more and more and more. We'll look up in 3 years and I'll be having to kick people out of the building. I'll be leaving for the night and go, hey, dude, you got to get your rest, whatever. Because that's what it was like at Wake Forest. That's what it was like at Bowling Green. That's what it was like at Notre Dame. It's been that, you see those things happen as football becomes just intertwined in your culture. It becomes just a part of who you are. And it's fun. That's what makes it fun.
Anything else, gang?
Thank you.
Coach needs some cough drops.
I got
So-
one. So
Okay, good.
listen, it's all good. It's just Chad, you would say that I take too much time answering questions, which
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
argue.
just shorten it up, and
That's right.
cough
Hey,
it away.
Robbie, we missed you last night, man. I told
I
Aria.
was at the soccer game.
That's what I
got a
heard.
great hit.
Hey, this is football Americano, man. Let's go.
No nights off.
That's right. I appreciate you guys bearing with me while I'm hacking through this. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, coach. Thanks.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Clark.